Silverback story. I helped beta that when she was still working on it. And there is this one passage that will probably stick with me for as long as I live as a writer. You just have those passages that just always remain in your head. And it's when he's reading in the library and he was reading something that triggered him and his trauma. And she talks about how the sea was lapping at the doors of the library. And it's just that passage is so haunting and visceral when it comes to like a PTSD flashback. The sea was trying to reach for him. It couldn't even leave him alone in this place where he thought he had settled. It was lapping at the door, seeping in underneath. There was so much weight to his trauma there being the metaphor of the sea reaching out to him that way. And I just love that passage. So I just have to speak to that passage specifically. We'll always do it.
Yes, there are. Yeah, I am the same way with certain chunks of narrative prose that just really stick with me. Like I actually took a page out of Anne Rice's Tale of the Body Thief.
I love Anne Rice.
And me too. Ever since, like, I got in high school, Chronicles. I got, yes, hugely into the Vampire Chronicles to the point where there are certain things that I would ritualistically read these books. I would have the same music playing, of course, audio cassette tape, because that's how old I am. But now, anytime I hear certain music, it triggers a sense memory of reading these books.
Love that. Like, I just love that happens. Like, there's certain books and certain fan fiction and fandoms that I associate with certain styles of music. And it's like, if I go back to one, then I have to go back to the other. Like,
yeah.
They're paired in my mind.
They're intrinsically linked. Like, for me, the Vampire Chronicles to me sounds like Jean-Michel Jarre. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he is a electronic composer who is French, and my dad was really into his music, and so I tangentially got into it as well. And so that became the soundtrack for me for the Vampire Chronicles. But there was one passage in Tale of the Body Thief that not only did I memorize, I used it to work on accents, and I used it as typing practice because I would see how fast I could type this passage, and it was an entire page. It was he lifted the long wick that lay there for the lighting of candles and dipped it into an old flame and made a new one burst into being, hot, yellow, and finally steady, giving off the sharp perfume of burnt wax. And it's that whole, again, that visceral feeling, all those details, that rich, like, purple prose that she brings into the stories.
I would say she probably influenced my writing a little bit.
And it's one of those details that, I felt that same feeling of connectedness. And I think that's probably why that this story stuck with me for so long, is because I cut my teeth on Anne Rice, and that those are those same types of visceral, sensation-based details and storytelling. And it's beautiful.
We want to talk about getting into the head and the experience of a character. Anne Rice get into the experience of a character.
Oh yeah.
And and a place. Like, I've never been to New Orleans, and then I read her books, and it's the nostalgia for a place that I've never
been. Yes. Absolutely.
It's so good. So yes, I would say that I never thought about it, but yes. And how I would try to aspire to get into the head of a character and add the details. Anne Rice is a very good example of that.